a 28-10 victory over the UTEP Miners, the Rebels are looking at a 2-0 record for the first time since 2009. And now the Texas Longhorns come into Oxford for one of the biggest games of the season. Are you ready? Find out next on
Freeze frame, freeze frame, freeze frame. Now I'm looking at a flashback Sunday Zoom. Let's feel it, just won't disappear.
And welcome to Freeze Frame. This week in Ole Miss football, I'm David Johnson, along with Terrence Metcalf and Brandon Redd. It is Texas Longhorn Week for the Ole Miss Rebels. Kickoff Saturday night at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium at 8:15 p.m. Stadium capacity 60,580 guys. There will be more than that inside the Vault Saturday night.
It's going to be a loaded house, and I wonder how many people are going to be in the Grove, too. Just add, 20 extra thousand there in the Grove at least.
Look, I tell you what, man, this ought to be big. This is one of the biggest weekends here in Oxford, Mississippi, and it should be. This is these guys just do. It's 2-0 right now. ESPN. It should make for a great night.
No doubt about it. 2-0 ball clubs coming in here. An SEC team, a Big 12 team bound to captivate and capture the attention of college football fans nationwide. The story of this ball game seems to be kind of pushing itself to whether or not the Ole Miss defensive front can stop a power run game that Texas is bringing in here. Big old offensive line, a whole stable full of really good running backs.
Yeah, Ole Miss struggled a little bit against Central Arkansas stopping the run, but they bounced back last week against UTEP and said, hey, yeah, we can stop the run. And now becomes the question, can we stop these big boys from Texas and that big offensive line they bring?
Well, again, UTEP had a big offensive line, and remember, they rushed for 177 yards the week before. So, you're talking about a defensive line with a lot of quick guys and great rotation here at Ole Miss. So that's going to give those guys rest and an opportunity to stay fresh and get upfield and wreak havoc for that Texas offensive line.
Big offensive line for UTEP, as Terrence pointed out. Got to think, though, there's a reason those guys are at UTEP and the Longhorn linemen are at Texas. There's probably a little bit of a difference in the talent level and capabilities of what's at Texas versus what's at UTEP. Would you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that, but those guys went out and they faced Oklahoma. They played a good game against Oklahoma, and everybody actually thought that UTEP offensive line was going to come in and push our defensive line around as well, because you look at a guy like Isaac Gross at the nose tackle position, and a lot of those guys will say 265 pounds. We should push him around and pretty easily, but we all know how strong Isaac is in his first step and what he can do off the football.
Texas fans on the message boards, that's one thing they've honed in on, is how small Isaac Gross is at the nose tackle spot on the Ole Miss defensive line. The one thing they need to hone in on is how quick that first step is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about explosive and high motor, and that's what you continue to hear from coaches like Coach Freeze and Coach Womack, that before the offensive lineman is even getting out of his three-point stance, Isaac Gross is hitting him in the mouth.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Isaac Gross remind me of a guy like Derek Burgess, who played three technique here at Ole Miss at a time nobody thought we would do anything. He was 245 pounds, 250 pounds at the three technique, and was a freshman All-American at the end of the season. Isaac got 20 more pounds on him, but he's just as strong and just as fast.
Now, that's one aspect of the game. The other aspect is, how will the Texas defense handle an Ole Miss offense that right now is ranked amongst the best in the nation? The Rebels lead the SEC in total offense, rushing, first downs, third down conversion, and fourth down conversions. Top 10 nationally in pass efficiency, rushing, and total.
Yeah, and you look at our offense, and I think this might surprise some of our fans, but for us that have been at practice, we knew that for this offense to be successful, we'd have to run the football,
yeah.
and that's what we're doing, and we're successful at it.
And kudos to the three guys in the middle: Evan Swindles, Aaron Morris, and AJ Hawkins. Those three guys have really gelled well and held down the pocket and opening up holes where these guys can get upfield and make plays, and not taking anything away from Pierce Burton and Emmanuel McCray at all.
Well, when you hear the word spread, you think dinking and dunking and throwing the football all over the field, and you think not a good rushing game to go with it. But what the spread offense does, particularly in Ole Miss's case, is it opens up space for that rushing game, and boom, you see the results of that.
No doubt, and then if you're having trouble rushing it, all of a sudden what do? We do little quick swing passes, quick slants, and all these little plays with the running back have really helped open up the Ole Miss offense.
Guys, I love the spread offense because when I think of the spreads, it gives you more zone opportunities to run the football. The O-line just have to run at an angle, and the backs, like the guys we got, pick the holes, be it front side or back side. It gives us a ton of yardage on the ground.
It's been a hard ticket to get, one of the hardest tickets to get in Oxford in a long, long time. If you were unable to get a ticket to this ball game, it will be on ESPN. It is the prime time, 8:15 kickoff. Mark Jones doing the play-by-play, Brock Heward as the analyst, and Jessica Mendoza, she's easy on the eyes, on the sideline.
I'm a fan of hers. I really am. It's fun to watch.
Calm down, Brandon. Calm down.
Sorry about that.
I'm a fan of ESPN being in Oxford, man, and a huge opportunity it presents our players and coaches and this fan base to be on a national stage.
All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking about Bo Wallace and how he could have ended up a Texas Longhorn. You're listening to Freeze Frame This Week in Ole Miss Football on the Rev Sports Radio Network. All right, welcome back to Freeze Frame This Week in Ole Miss Football. And, guys, an interesting quarterback battle for a number of reasons. Number one, Bo Wallace is on fire through his first two ball games, looking like one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. Texas, at one point, flirted with Bo a little bit. When he was at East Mississippi Community College, they looked at the possibility of perhaps offering Bo a scholarship and bringing him in there. He was the guy they were looking at if David Ash and McCoy did not work out.
Yeah, you got to wonder, what are they thinking now? Should we have taken this guy? Because, like you said, Dave, Wallace has been on fire. He's making the passes when Ole Miss needs them to. And when the game is in the balance, it's Wallace that's making the big strikes.
Doug, I'll tell you, there's no doubt in my mind that they were looking at him. I mean, look at the numbers that he did at East Community College, 5,000-plus passing yards, 1,500-plus yards on the ground, and a ton of touchdowns behind that, and winning the JUCO National Championship. So
they don't deny the fact they were looking at him. I mean, assistant coach Brian Harsin, he said they were trying to figure out the direction they were going at that time with their quarterback position. They ultimately decided to stick with Ash as their starting quarterback. There was some talk that McCoy was going to transfer out of Texas, and they were in a situation they didn't know if Ash could handle the job, to be quite honest with you, because he had so many turnover problems last year. Ultimately, they stuck with Ash, and as we'll figure out if that was the right decision for the Longhorns Saturday night. It'll prove itself out.
Definitely will.
And Ash, he hasn't been bad this season. I mean, last season he definitely wasn't very good. But this isn't about Ash necessarily as much as like we've been saying how good Bo Wallace has been so far.
And his improvement as the season went on. You look at what he was doing in fall camp. You see him behind the twos. It looked like Bo struggled a little bit, but then you put it with the ones. He looked like this all SEC caliber quarterback that he is, and tomorrow night, Saturday night after the game, get ready to kick off. I think Bo Wallace is just he's poised to do something special for the Ole Miss Rebel.
And I'm not sure Texas has bought in to all the lofty stats Ole Miss has put up through their first two ball games. I did a thing with Hook'em.com where they interviewed me and asked me questions. 5 questions is what they call it, and 3 of the 5 questions ended somewhat with, do you think Ole Miss will be able to continue to do this against better competition? So that's definitely on the minds of the Texas Longhorn people, is that Ole Miss has put up these lofty stats against Central Arkansas and a team they don't have a whole lot of respect for inside their own state, Texas El Paso.
Yeah, and my answer to that would be yes, honestly, because Central Arkansas is a little bit worse opponent than UTEP, and each week the opposition gets a little bit tougher,
Yeah.
but the numbers continue to rise.
And then you look at this team. You don't lose the players on the field. We made it out injury free. All these guys will be back out there on the field. Coach Freeze will be calling the plays the same way he called them against UTEP and Central Arkansas. These guys got to go out and execute. And I think we got some top-notch talent at the receiving position, at the quarterback position, and in the backfield. Texas fans will see that tomorrow night.
So, Brandon, what do you think? I mean, what is the one thing on the offensive side of the football the Rebels are going to be suspect on that they're going to have to be able to hold their own tomorrow night? Is it the offensive line?
No doubt about it. Texas is going to bring the house when it comes to blitzing, and to me, for us to be successful, we're going to have to make sure we have our pass protection skills down, and that we know, hey, we're picking up this guy or that guy, because Manny Diaz's defense with Texas, I mean, they're going to bring the house, and if you can pick those guys up, there will be open wide receivers down the field.
Well, Brandon, Dave, that's exactly right, man. I think it's going to be identifications. If they can pick up the blitz without any issues, that's going to be the key to it.
But wouldn't you expect to see somewhat of a game plan out of Ole Miss like you saw against Texas El Paso? And it's almost kind of like sticking your foot in the tub and testing to see how hot the water is a little bit before you get all the way in there. In the first half against Texas El Paso, you didn't see any 3, 4, 5-step drop back stuff. It was get the ball in Bo's hand. The ball left Bo's hand very, very quickly, and to kind of spread it around. And then the tempo of Hugh Freeze's offense wearing on a defense, and then in the third and fourth quarters, you started seeing Bo dropping back and that pass protection holding up pretty much against Texas El Paso. And talking to Pierce Burton earlier this week, what did Pierce say? Pierce said we wore them down in the first half, and it made pass pro easier in the second half.
I mean, you're right on the money, David. And even Coach Freeze yesterday, he said, this first quarter is going to be a lot of us, let's see what they do type thing, and let's adjust to the speed.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I think we're going to do. After the first quarter, let's see these next 3 quarters what we need to do to win the ball game.
And I definitely wouldn't get away from the 3-step drop, because we've had a lot of success, and Bo Wallace and those receivers working well with each other when they got the break on the defensive back or in space with the linebackers. He's hitting them right on target, and they're catching the ball well.
Going to be a trick player too tomorrow night. You guys know that. That's going to be coming.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what all Freeze brings out of the hat, and I know, from his time here at Ole Miss a few years back, that there's going to be something, like you said, David, that we don't expect, and Texas probably will be looking for it, but they won't know when it's coming either.
But he showed flashes of it with Randall Mackey lining up and throwing the pass to Jamez Logan in this past game.
Okay, when we come back, we'll talk about how many points we think will get scored Saturday night. Will it be high scoring? Will it be low scoring? Who does a high scoring game favor? And vice versa. You're listening to Freeze Frame on the Rev Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to Freeze Frame. All right, guys, 2 high-scoring offenses here in the Ole Miss offense and the Texas offense. So many times when you have 2 high-wired, high-octane offenses going into a ball game where the scores ought to be 45-42, it ends up being a defensive struggle. Terrence, I'll ask you, why is that? Why does that happen sometimes?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it's the defenses that practice the hardest all week long and try to prepare for some things that that the teams are going to show. And offensively, it doesn't change. Defensively, you got to try to stop different looks, and especially with the spread offense. This week is going to, I think Texas has a bigger challenge lining up and facing what Coach Freeze is going to throw at them with the different formations than we do against Texas when they're talking about they run a power system. And now we do have to hold up to that as a defensive line. With the linemen pulling and hitting you in the mouth for 4 quarters, that tend to wear down on you. But it's the different fronts that you have to try to prepare for.
And, when you look at Ole Miss offensively, we all know, like we said, Texas is going to bring a lot of blitzes. But the question is, will they be able to play man-to-man against our wide receivers?
Yeah.
And if they can, Ole Miss will struggle scoring points. I truly believe that. But if we can start beating those blitzes, maybe with some screen passes, some things to make a Manny Diaz and them say, okay, maybe we need to call the dogs off a little bit, then that could open up maybe a higher scoring game.
And Brandon, that's an excellent point. Texas really hasn't got out of man coverage the first 2 ball games of this year. They haven't had to against Wyoming and New Mexico, and they love their DBs, and their DBs were supposed to be the question mark on the defensive side of the football, but through 2 ball games this year, man, that looks like a strength of that Texas Longhorn team.
And we've all watched some film of Texas this week, and the speed of the Texas defensive backs has really shocked me. Their ability to maybe be on one wide receiver and they see the play going somewhere else, and they'll cut off that wide receiver and make an interception. It's been very impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, looking at those guys, wouldn't you guys say this would be the best receiver group that they'll face thus far in their season, though?
Best one thus far.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Wyoming and New Mexico. Listen, let's be honest here. When you look at it, Wyoming and New Mexico is who Texas has defeated. They struggled with Wyoming for a while, and look, they struggled in the first half against New Mexico, and if they come into Vaught Hemingway and struggle early and Ole Miss is able to attack early and get some points on the board, the Texas offense is not tailor-made to come back from a 2-touchdown deficit. It's just not made that way. Now, our offense isn't made to milk the clock either if we get a lead, so maybe that balances out. But going to be an interesting game, but high scoring, low scoring. What do you say, Brandon?
I'm going lukewarm, guys. If that can that be an answer? Because I'm going lukewarm. 30s, late 20s.
You got a donut over there? Because that was a cop out.
That was a cop out. So I'm going lukewarm, guys. I'm not going to say high scoring, but not real low scoring either.
Yeah, I'm middle of the pack kind of guy here, with where I think that the scoring is going to fall.
I think a high-scoring game is going to favor Ole Miss. I really do. I think if you have a low-scoring game, I'm kind of concerned about that. High-scoring game, I think the Rebels obviously have to outscore Texas to win, but I think you really have to outscore Texas Saturday night to come out victorious in this one.
No doubt about it. And once again, that goes back to Texas' defense. And this is not taken away from Ole Miss's defense because they've been playing really good football. But I think every Ole Miss fan out there knows that this Texas defense is something we have to be ready for.
And Texas is known for their defensive tackles, the size of those guys, and the speed of those guys. And our offensive line is up. They got a big challenge before them. I mean, the 2 defensive ends for Texas, they're really fast off the ball. And up the middle, I just say Texas D tackles didn't really show much against New Mexico. We were pretty matched up well, but on the edges, Emmanuel McCray, Pierce Burton, they got their hands full this weekend.
Yeah, they do have their hands full, but I'll say this much. The improvement that unit has made from spring practice into fall camp and from week 1 to week 2 has been absolutely tremendous. Matt Luke has done a bang-up job as the O-line coach at Ole Miss.
No question about it, Coach Luke. You can just see that the players seem more comfortable out there, and Terrence, you should know that more than anybody. Just about how do you just build confidence? Is that what happened?
Well, this week 3, and these guys had an opportunity through fall camp to kind of work well with each other. And I'm telling you, the guy that stands out the most is Aaron Morris. He missed a couple of times during practice during fall camp, and he's bounced back. He's back out there, looked good, pulling and getting around on the edge. So, it's just the week 3. You advanced every week.
And then there's that guy who plays at a position that the only time he'll ever get his name called is when he screws up, and that's the center, Evan Swindle. That has just been the rock on this offensive line. He's been the glue that's held it all together.
And he's one of those guys that, he's helping with pass protections, and he's calling things out. Hey, let's make sure we're over here. And he will be very important Saturday.
Oh, he's the leader of that unit, and he's the guy that got to make sure everybody's on key. When you're talking about the O-line, you can't look past the center. Evan is doing a fine job right now.
All right, no doubt about that. Big ball game, biggest one that's been here in a while.
Long time.
In Oxford, Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday night, the Texas Longhorns will be there. Hope to see you there, too. We'll be right back with more Freeze Frame right after this. Welcome back to Freeze Frame, the Texas Longhorn edition. And, man, what a night it's going to be out there. Everybody's excited this
I know
week.
I am. Man.
Yeah, we are, obviously. I mean, from a media standpoint, but even at my house. I mean, listen, my wife last night, all she's talking about is the Texas game.
Yeah. And it's all around Oxford. I mean, but I think it's expanded past Oxford, North Mississippi, Memphis. It's everywhere.
It is. It's region-wide.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. My wife looks at me and goes, "Hey, I heard David Ash has small hands." I'm like, "Come on, Ash." My wife's name is Ashley. Come on, what are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
Eli told me she had small hands. He had small hands.
They know the size of his hands.
That's kind of number one. It was kind of creepy,
Right.
But secondly, I was kind of proud of her right there.
She's ready. But I think every Ole Miss fan, like you said, David, everybody's excited. And I wonder if it's the same feeling, and I have to believe it is, over there in Austin right now.
Oh yeah,
No doubt. We had Jeff Howe on from
Yeah.
Hook'em.com on the Game Time Morning Show Thursday morning, and Jeff said expect about 30,000 Texas Longhorn fans to be in Oxford, regardless of if they have a ticket to the ball game or not. They will be outside the stadium in the Grove. But he put that, and he's been covering Texas a long time. 30,000 is what they're expecting here.
It's going to be a lot of people, and I've been trying to compare it to the games in the past, but for me, there's no way to do it just because a little bit of the uncertainty. First time Texas has come to Oxford type thing, but I expect it to be a ton of people inside and outside the stadium.
And there is a difference, and someone was telling me, well, we get Alabama over here every other year and LSU over here every other year, but here's the difference, though. Alabama's going to drive over and drive back the day of or come in the day before.
Exactly.
It's a long ways from Oxford, Mississippi to Austin, Texas, and these folks are getting here on Wednesday, on Thursday. They're staying here. It's a great boost for the Oxford economy. Just a big time atmosphere. This is, it's ground zero for college football this week, as far as I'm concerned. They can have that game up in Knoxville.
It almost has a bowl type feel to it, in my opinion, because the fans are going to be here a while, and everybody's just really excited.
Well, again, the Texas fan excited to get this Grove experience, and rightly so, man. You got ESPN in town, and it's a huge ball game, a huge atmosphere, big for the city of Oxford as well.
Terrence and I were talking Thursday morning on the morning show about how many calls we've got this week about tickets. I mean, I've got third cousins I haven't heard from in 6 years. Hey, you got any tickets for this ball game?
Yeah, I got a text last night. Where can I find a cheap ticket?
A cheap ticket.
That, you said nowhere, I bet.
Right.
Cheap ticket. I had one relative who wanted to know if I had an extra ticket so he could sell it. That didn't sit well with me.
He would make some money. I think there's some tickets to be sold out there for some high dollars.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. All right, Rebels 247 caught up with Ole Miss linebacker Mike Mary following Wednesday's practice. Mike talks a little bit about the Texas Longhorns. Here's Mike Mary.
I'm here with junior linebacker Mike Mary. First game, a little slow. This last game, you seemed to really step up your game. What was something maybe you did a little different out there?
Watch more film, just learn the materials and what I expect to see pre-snap to help me play that much faster.
How important do you feel your game is against the run game, especially against a big offensive line like Texas?
It's very important because if they get the running game established, it make it harder for our secondary. When we shut down the run, they have to pass, and they know what to expect.
Now, do you expect Texas to be more run-heavy or pass-heavy this Saturday, or do you know?
Just to do whatever works. We're going to do whatever works.
Talking about your game, I mean, how excited are you heading into the Texas game? I know it's a lot of people going to be here. Just what excites you about it?
I'm excited just to play another football game. We don't really too much worry about the name. We just take it as another football game.
I mean, looking ahead, I mean, do you hear about things in class or anything like that about, this is Texas coming to town or what?
All I hear on campus is beat Texas. That's all everybody say. All the students, all the teachers beat Texas.
What's your mindset, not necessarily with the atmosphere, but going in as a football player, what do you feel like you need to focus on and do well to help Ole Miss win this Saturday?
Communication and getting your eyes in the right place. That's where most of the mistakes come from, not having your eyes in the right place. I feel like our defense and offense, we have the ability to do what we have to do as long as our eyes in the right place and make the proper checks.
Junior linebacker Mike Mary, we appreciate your time today.
All right, thank you.
Are you sure that Dave Womack is not an optometrist? Because we've talked about this before, but boy, all Coach Womack talks about are your eyes.
He's a believer in the eyes, guys.
Yeah,
he loves those eyes.
I'm telling you.
He might recruit by the players' eyes.
Look at Mike Singletary, man. That's the number one thing that everybody focuses on is his eyes, his vision, and where he placed himself at the linebacker position.
Well, while we've got our eyes on Texas, the eyes of Texas are on Ole Miss this weekend, and man, what a ball game it should be out at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. What a whole day. Now, there is a chance for a little bit of rain moving in here later on tonight and into Saturday. Hopefully, that'll blow past, and it won't mar any of the Grove festivities going on. It's going to be wild.
And the 8:15 kickoff I think just adds to the magnitude of this game. And like Terrence said, with ESPN here, it's going to be a big one.
Instead of a crowd noise meter on the Jumbotron this week, maybe it should be a sobriety meter with the 8:15 kickoff, because there's going to be some libations taken advantage of in the Grove for an 8:15 kickoff.
You got a long time to spend out there in the Grove and enjoy yourself before you get over there to Vaught Hemingway.
And then make sure you get to Vaught Hemingway.
Yeah, that's key.
Whether you have to stumble, crawl, or be carried, get to the game on time. Okay, when we come back, we'll offer our final thoughts on the Ole Miss-Texas game. You're listening to Freeze Frame This Week in Ole Miss Football on the Rev Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to Freeze Frame. All right, guys, it's time to ante up and offer our predictions. Brandon, I know you're setting on ready with yours. You've went from lukewarm to knowing what you're going to pick now. Let's start off with you.
Guys, it was a tough one. I think Ole Miss comes out and plays an excellent ball game. I think this is going to be a battle to the end, and it's going to be, I think, the Longhorns win this one 31-27, but this is not one to be upset about if Ole Miss does lose. I like we've been saying, guys, Ole Miss continues to improve, but I got the Longhorns winning 31-27.
Got the Ole Miss Rebels going 28-17 in this ball game. Texas got to slow that offense down. Texas run the ball real well right now, and they got DBs who really hadn't faced the likes of our receivers and Bo Wallace. So I'm going Ole Miss 28, Texas 17.
This has all the makings for a classic matchup. And with that being said, I have no reason to believe it will not be a classic finish. 36-35, Ole Miss on a Bryson Rose field goal of 40-plus yards as time expires. Hotty toddy, Rebels win.
The question, David, is that the first one he's made this season?
I don't know. I hadn't went that deep into it, Red. Come on, man. I'm just telling you how it's going to wrap up.
I think, like we've talked about, though, with Rose out there, there's something about I still have confidence in him to make a big kick.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, he had a few glitches so far, and you got to make those corrections, and hopefully they did that throughout practice, and we can rely on him to be ready this week.
Speed round, MVP of this ball game. I'm going with Bo Wallace is going to walk off the field as the most valuable player and a bona fide college football superstar after this ball game.
Yeah, I got to go, Bo. He's done it 2 games so far. Let's make it 3.
You know, I'm going Dante Moncrief. For us to be successful offensively, we're going to need the receiver core to be on point. I'm going with Dante Moncrief.
And as Dante Moncrief goes, Bo Wallace goes, and as Bo Wallace goes, Dante Moncrief goes. But that's what I see. Okay, guys, turnovers. Can Ole Miss limit the turnovers and win that battle Saturday night?
I think so. I think that as long as like we said, we got to get a little bit better on the punt returns. Can't fumble those. I think we limit turnovers, and I think this is a clean game both ways. I think it's a battle.
Yeah, I think the guys have to focus up this week, especially putting the ball on the ground offensively. That's something that we can control. And guys, keying on the ball on punt return and kickoff return and getting that ball and going upfield with it.
Continuing with the lightning round question: does Texas respect this Ole Miss football team, or is what you're reading coming out of the Austin media just hyperbole.
Oh, well, if Texas doesn't respect this Ole Miss team, then I want to completely wipe away the score I just predicted, because if they don't respect Ole Miss, they got something coming to them Saturday.
You know what? I definitely think they respect the likes of this offense and what Bo Wallace bring to the table. But again, you're talking about a game where coaches have to go out and say positive things about the other team and not give the other team things to go on. Coach Hugh Freeze, he never talks about the other team in a bad light. And Mac Brown been in the game for so long over there in Texas, he's not going to give these guys anything here at Ole Miss to go on.
Question. The absence of Trey Elston, does Ole Miss feel the effect?
I'm going to say a little bit when it comes to depth, and you know, when you make a hit like that, like he did, the wide receivers know it, and they might not dive after a ball they would. I think there's a little bit of hangover from that, not necessarily from the team, but I think it kind of gives the Longhorns a little bit of confidence going across the middle.
Well, and then you're missing a guy like Trey Elston on the special team side of the ball as well. The young guy, a lot of speed, a headhunter as he proved this past weekend. But back there in the defensive backfield, we got a lot of bodies. I don't think we feel the effect so much on the defensive side, but special team wise, yeah.
Question. Can the Ole Miss offensive line protect Bo Wallace?
I think so, and like Coach Dan Warner said, it's going to be up to the offensive line, but it's also going to be up to Bo to make sure that he makes those reads and tells men where to go so that he's not killed, and I think they do. I think they've improved every day, and I think they're ready for this game.
Just like Peyton Manning, Bo Wallace, a great quarterback, quick release, and he utilizes offensive line, get rid of the ball, don't stand back there. He makes those guys effective in front of him, and I think they'll definitely be able to slow Texas down.
Question. Will the Ole Miss special teams have fixed themselves by Saturday night?
Yeah, I really do, and like we talked about a minute ago, I have complete faith in Bryson Rose, and I have complete faith in Coach Hugh Freeze that he can fix these guys in a week, and he's a motivator, and I think they will be good to go.
Definitely, Coach Freeze, I'm a believer in him, man, and he definitely will have these guys headed in the right direction.
Question. Are you ready?
Yes, I am, baby. Yes, I am.
Damn right.
Hotty toddy. For Brandon Redd, Terrence Metcalf, I'm David Johnson. This has been Freeze Frame. We'll see you all at the Vault. 8:15 kickoff Saturday night. You don't want to miss this one. Thanks for joining us.